Let's get this party started. If it'll sync. There we go. Alright, so what do we want to do? I don't want to go back because... Alright. POG campaign, how it's gone on so far is Phase 1 kind of happened and then ended with this over here, Phase 2, where they're now going to be directly helping Blue 4 because they lost their in on the other stuff. So I'm trying to debate what we want to do here per se, and I think the best thing is going to be to allow the front to push. Like a little trench thing down here, that's cute. Oh, it's a pipeline. Random fact for the day. Yeah, no, I think the best thing would be a sabotage op. So let that quiet down. And instead we go after those two positions. Yeah, that should work. No, but it would be funny to have a mission to blow up a pipeline somewhere, wouldn't it? Alright. Let's take our ZEI tool and start filling stuff. Alright. And I think everything else should be fine. We start getting into this zone. It's a little laggier, but... No, that should be a-okay. Let's go ahead and look at our map vectors here. And our photos. Get rid of all that. And then that's our template file. Start working on that. Finished 40k Mechanicus, and the final boss was quite underwhelming. I wouldn't say it's a norm for games to have underwhelming bosses, but there are certainly a few games out there where, you know, the final boss can be a little bit of a bore, but what can you do, right? I'm gonna set up a squad lead in these 3 positions. Hey RGA, how you doing? I'm just gonna evenly template everything, maybe put a static gun in a few spots. Should be fine. Oh, I know you have dwarves. But what I'm thinking today... is we do our standard stuff. We're going to run POG tonight. We're going to run OFCRA tonight. In between the end of this stream and POG, I'm probably going to do a bunch of video editing. And then I'm just going to start trying to template out a lot of mission dev, because I want to get started on my December projects. And, I mean, this POG mission is going to be fairly simple. The next one's going to be a bit more complex, but we'll get there when we get there. Sorry, I'm letting my mind race here. Basically, operation is going to be POG deploys forces, hits 2 supply depots. That causes Op 4 to collapse their line back. Blue 4 will then launch an attack and take this position. Next week, all the forces over here will come around to reinforce this. POG will then relaunch on this position, set up a blocking position here as the operation begins to eliminate QRF that comes in, and then come around on the northern side, push past this bridge, and then end the evening in a secret position, which I believe is up here. And then we'll start launching operations in their back line. And then we'll get to the third and final phase of this campaign, where we start really going balls to the wall for the hell of it. And I gotta work on my acting voice. You know, overarching villains has always been a favorite of mine, and I'm gonna level with you guys. And actually, no, I'm gonna pose you guys a question. When's the last time we had a good villain from a video game series? 2 that come to mind right off the bat would be Handsome Jack, Borderlands 2, and what's his face from Far Cry 2, I believe? Which I know is a great description. His name escapes me at the moment. And I can't remember it off the top of my head, and it's starting to annoy me. But if someone can fill in... Bass from Far Cry 3, that's it, yeah. See, I've never played Ace Combat, so I wouldn't know. But... and I haven't played... I'm gonna be honest, I've never played a single Final Fantasy game, but... I think with how video game development is getting, it's really becoming harder and harder to find villains that we kind of sympathize with and like. But it's also, you know, not really in the best interest of most video game devs to make a villain we really, really like, because, well, they're gonna get killed off anyway. But I know a lot of AAA studios don't give a damn. But still, I miss good villains. It's been a while since I've played a game with a good villain, but then again, I haven't really played that many video games per se, so I'm not the best example, right? You did not just... Oh, no, 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 you fool. You fool, you can't undo that when you... Oh, Liru, you dumbass. I hit the wrong button. I gotta rebuild the freaking garrison. because that's a scripted thing. You can't unfuck it once you've done it. Ah, damn it. Am I a villain? I mean, yeah. For the things I make, technically by Zeus's definition, I would be. But I've come to find that most of the armor groups I work for don't appreciate a good villain, so I don't really invest in one. However, I will admit there's a good one for this POG campaign, but nah, good villains, especially the ones that stick with you the entire time. It's harder to find that stuff these days. But I'm not doing the best job at looking, so heh. I'm my own villain? Oh yeah, no, I self-sabotage a lot. Oh, that hurts. That hits close to home, doesn't it? He's floating. Yeah, well, not really, but yeah, whatever. The hell? How did you... What? Sir? Sir, that's not where you were pasted. Sir, get down from there. Alright. What the... Is that the debug? Yep, straight to debug corner. I mean, one of the best characters I ever developed, this is outside of Arma though, was a likable villain who had a redemption arc. I mean, villains, anti-heroes, redeemed villains, I mean, those are the fun ones. Because a hero, it's very generic, but you can have conflict, you can have struggle, and everyone always cheers for the good guy, but a villain, I mean... That's the fun stuff. It's hard to do it in Arma, though, admittedly. Because, you know, what's stopping a player from literally just, as you're giving, like, a big bad speech, he just one-taps you in the face, and you're just like, oh. Okay. Thank you. No, that's why you gotta do it certain ways so your villain doesn't get shot. Because otherwise your player base will shoot him in the face. And it's like, boom, done, GG. I'm looking for Cold War Op 4, there we go. And then I gotta lock all this shit that isn't a car, because otherwise my player base in POG is gonna go, ooh, a vehicle! I can drive it! And it's like, no. No, you can't drive the vehicle. I want to drive the vehicle, Liru. No. No, you can't drive the... I want to drive the vehicle, Liru. No. Bad. You're not driving the vehicle. But it's unlocked, Liru. I said no in brief, but I'm going to drive it anyway. Kill him. Spawns an RPG gunner. Kill him. God, I am deranged today. I apologize. The cars I'll leave unlocked because it's a car. I mean, I'll let you hotwire that because I'm nice. Your cliche is you were never fighting for the good guys. That is also a good one. And then you do a backstab on them, and then, of course, they fight their way back. Or I've written a D&D-esque story where they end up joining the quote-unquote bad guy. Ah, man. Those are fun. Poor Daz in the law, yeah. I still don't understand how the AI did that. Honestly, I don't. I've very seldom seen that in Arma, where the AI will outright kill you with a single shot disposable AT weapon. And yet, it happened. Yeah, luck for players, because I still want to be able to field the vehicles if absolutely needed, if they're taking too damn long. Just to select all of these. And anything they don't blow up completely, I'm going to repair and throw at them later on top of some other stuff that might overwhelm them, so. Yeah. I don't know, I've got plenty of stories. I did promise I'd also tell some of my college stories again because of bat crazy stuff, but dwarves, any tips with working with Lamb's AI? Wow. You know, that's a tough one, dwarves. I'm gonna be honest. The biggest tip I can give you... Recalling all of my knowledge with Lamb's AI. The first thing you're gonna want to do, actually, alright? I'm actually dead serious when I say this, alright? I'm giving you some serious advice here. You're going to want to look at your mod set, okay? I'm gonna tab out and look at it. You're going to want to click on mods. You're going to want to then check the mod set and then type in, if you can't find it, because sometimes, you know, mod sets, they can have up to like 100 mods. I've literally played in communities where they're in the triple digits. It's a little crazy, but, you know, they make it work, even though it can be a little framey when you go past like 20 players, but I digress. You're going to want to type LAMBS, L-A-M-B-S, in the search box, and then it's going to come up, it's going to be checked, and then you're going to right-click that and click uninstall. Yeah, easy. Easy. That's my best advice. Greatest advice for you. Because here's the deal. Lamb's AI is a great mod. Alright? It is honestly a very, very good AI mod. But as a Zeus, you don't need it. You don't need AI mods. The only thing I could argue that you ever needed was a gutted version of VCOM AI where the AI don't have any control, but they have some of the added passive subroutines. The added subroutines did things back in when we used it, what, in like 2018? Where it improved AI vehicle pathfinding. Now, it didn't fully improve it to the point it would always work. You know, the AI still breaks, but it improved it. It would be more likely to drive things on the road. It would drive tracked vehicles on the roads, for example. You could set that. Because tracks usually just drive on their own, and motorized vehicles with wheels, they always follow roads, unless you order them to drive off of the road. The AI would also auto-breach and clear buildings on their own, which with Zeus these days, you can just click a button, and they'll do that. And, you know, if players are trying to hide in a building, the AI automatically know where the players are, so they'll automatically start breaching. And if you're doing a stealth op, that's kind of a bitch. So, you know, having that manual toggle is actually a bit better in my opinion, because you as the Zeus are supposed to be controlling the scenario anyway and making it fair for the players, but I digress. The only other things they did was you would occasionally see AT use against infantry, but, I mean, we saw that with Daz's face over the, you know, Thanksgiving op, so I'm flabbergasted on that, because there's no way in hell you'll catch me running lambs in my own community. In all seriousness, if you're running lambs, don't be afraid if the player base doesn't have a drone or an air asset up. But your AI are aggroing super far out, don't be afraid to delete them and respawn them closer to the front line after a few minutes, because once Lamb's AI get aggroed, they are very, very slow to move up. They're much slower than the standard AI, which are still a bit slow, but usually only because there's like an air asset in the AO and they toggle to defend only and they run off to reinforce another unit. Yeah, no, that's fine. So you just have to keep that in mind. Otherwise, I would also highly recommend you limit the AI's grenade use to only a few kits, because Lamb's AI are a lot more likely to toggle the grenades. I'd also be careful with RPGs, because if you're running Lamb's RPGs, they will fire them indiscriminately in the infantry, which is weird because... Which one's DCO again, Rat Pick? Yeah, exactly, Dwarves, which is why you gotta... I didn't even read chat to see that one, but yeah, no, you have to limit grenades. I mean, on these kits, for example, even vanilla AI will do it on occasion. It's just they proc for more people together compared to Lamb's AI, which if they just detect 2 or 3 people together, it'll just automatically throw a damn grenade. The Grenadier in here is the grenade thrower. And I made a mistake like 2 POG missions ago when they were doing the whole clear through and get on boats and escape. I accidentally garrisoned the entire AO with Grenadiers instead of regular infantry, and they got massacred in the last camp because the AI started spamming them. I'm like, no! But that's because they literally grouped everyone together out of, like, what, the 20 players? And I'm like, bro. DCO Soldier FSM. I'm actually unfamiliar with that one. The only ones I know of are ASR AI3, VCOM Lambs, and that one AI mod. I always forget the name. It's that esoteric knowledge one that disappeared. But it basically made a realistic AI commander, which, again, is really, really cool. But as a Zeus, you don't need it. You don't need it. I thought this... I'm getting too good at mission dev. This has only been 25 minutes. What am I doing? We're doing a giant pathing toggle. They're all already pathing toggled. I love my job. I want to check some of their stances because those are off. Yep. Oh yeah, and then it's not just for jungle maps. Regardless if you have Lamb's AI or not on, there's so many items in the way of the AI to pathfind that they're going to be slow in the jungle nonetheless when they go into combat mode, so don't fault Lamb's AI. I used to fault it for that, but then I just actually did some testing and saw what the extent was of the op mod, so, you know. I will say this, though. If you're going to really get into, like, writing a lot of custom stuff for AI mods, you're going to need a headless client to offload some of that. If you... Like, that's the only reason headless clients exist, is to offload some of the server load for a lot of custom scripting, because a lot of the quote-unquote custom scripting you had to do back in the day, we actually now have built into the game. So, you don't necessarily need it. Now, there's some really, really cool things you can do with it, but, I mean, that's also because Zeusing was never a thing until, you know, the Zeus update, and even then it was very bare bones, and it required a lot of modding to touch it up. But I've consulted plenty of communities on what they need to do for certain things, but, you know, not all those communities want a Zeus. Sometimes they just want to play a dedicated mission. Or have a crazy Mic Force server. Mic Force definitely benefits with a headless client. Holy shit. Because otherwise you'll get to a point where the AI will stop shooting at you because they're too busy processing. The server's too busy processing a bunch of stuff. But nothing's more funny to watch players think, oh, we're attacking this really large objective. I can meta the AI. And then they go in and get immediately shot to shit doing a bunch of risky shit that they shouldn't have been doing in the first place. Myself included. And I'm like, oh. Whoops. That's why when you join a server, if you're playing an an automated mission, and you see a headless client on the server, you have to automatically assume, okay, I can't meta the AI, because they're going to dick me. And they do. Because the server has more resources, because it's offloading a bunch of stuff to another server. There is a few seconds of latency you can get out of the AI, which gives you a little bit of breathing room. Because at that point, you and a single squad of players are fighting swarms of, companies to battalion levels of forces, but at the same time, that's your little leeway. Because on paper, 8 shouldn't be able to take out 80. Alright. And then we didn't get anything as a bonus. I'm gonna develop mission 7. Because this was way too freaking easy. And that'll get me ahead. And I can also develop, here, I'm just sorting the executables here. No. And then we'll make mission 7 too. Yeah, and here's another thing. Karma asked me, fun fact, Killcog this weekend, 8 o'clock, is going to potentially be a 200 to 400 player. I say again, a 200 to 400 player PvP scenario. The biggest we've covered on this channel is about 300. Which was WOG versus Solid Games. 125 to 125, but they bumped it up to 150 versus 150. It's possible. We've seen it. Gets a little desyncy sometimes for the, server to calibrate, but it is possible. And Karma, I mean, he does run a server company, so I think he knows how to do shit like that. But he asked me, like, hey, is there any way you could, have another Zeus come in and sit with you on stuff? And I told him, yeah, but here's the thing about Zeusing. It's not... There's not a lot to do, especially for Karma's community. I mean, really, that's why I like streaming it, is because I get to chill with you guys. When I'm streaming stuff on the ground, though, not Zeusing, that's when I gotta focus more, but I'm literally just like, alright, they're doing well, we get to watch them, alright, here's another squad, boom, done. Here's another thing, boom, done. That's it. With Karma's group, we don't even do that. Because they are very, very picky about what they fight. Like, I reinforce a lot less of the time. Because that's how they want to do things. So, I told him I wouldn't mind making like a masterclass and having your Zeuses sit down with me and streaming like how to make a mission specifically for you guys, because it doesn't take me a lot of time, but I would tell them, hey, you're new at this, here's what you should focus on. Because for them, and I've said this before, anything I build, whenever someone quotes me something, usually I can do it in half the time of someone else, because I've been doing this for years. This is my life. I don't mean to toot my own horn when I say this, but I'm the leading expert in Zeusing. You know, like, I don't think anyone else in the world can claim they make 100% of their living off of this. Now, do I know every single thing? No. No one in Arma 3 knows every single thing about this esoteric, crazy thing. Which is why I often outsource things for scripting. Or, by the way, side note, Rory's gonna cost like 150 bucks. With her scythe, I don't even know how much more that's gonna cost, but we're eventually gonna see a little D-goal on the side for that. For Gate 2. Just an FYI, but I digress. You kind of just, for this game, keep learning, and then, you know, change up how you do things to make it easier. So there's a lot of shortcuts I use. I mean, recently I found out there's a website you can put an HTML on and it automatically builds you a command line. That saved me hours of time of just mindless copying and pasting. I had a rhythm with it, too, on how I'd bill it, because then I would also put the key on the server, but now I just throw all the keys on and then it's fine. But, whew. Alright, I'm gonna open Mission 5 again and copy and paste everything in this AO, because it's the same area, and they're gonna be hitting this area again, but then expanding on it. But I'm probably going to shoot Karma another message about that saying, hey, I, again, don't mind making a masterclass for any of your Zeuses to come sit down on, because I've already done that for people that take my top tier in Patreon. I will literally teach you the most common way I do things, and if people have questions, which they often do, they ask, and then I walk through, okay, how do you do this, how do you do that, and how does it compare to how I do things, and I will admit, sometimes I find easier ways to do things, and it's awesome. Because that's what, you know, turns making a mission file in like an hour to hour and a half into like 30 minutes. So here, I'm actually going to stop this recording because we already finished that mission file. It's done. It's a simple go in, sabotage 2 vehicle depots, and get the hell out before you explode. Easy. And Devour, let me know what the estimate is on that scythe, because I'm doing 125 to 150 for Rory based off of what I sent you. Or was it 100 to 125? I don't know. It's in the DMs. I can do that. Just let me know how much the scythe is. And if it can work with improved melee, because I need to... that's going to be funny to do.